Hi, I'm Chad Griffiths. It's 4:30 in the morning, and it's time for some more late-night philosophy. You just caught me sleeping. Looks like I need more of this. Everyone, join in, grab your favorite caffeinated beverage, whether that be coffee, tea, or incredibly unhealthy Mountain Dew. I'm not sponsored. And take a sip to the oncoming of the apocalypse. It's been a late night. On the plus side, man, that is strong. Yes, I'm a lightweight. No, it's not alcoholic. Yes, I answered the 3 questions. Welcome back. And we are currently halfway through the list of philosophy concepts that we need to cover by the end of tonight. Test is still at 3:30. Gotta get to it. So, this time we're going to be covering D. George's argument of moral responsibility. So, D. George starts out by establishing the difference between causal and moral responsibility. When an action is committed, physically, you did it. For example, if I take this book, I drop it off the table, causally, I did that. It was because of me, and exclusively because of me, that that book was dropped off the table. Also probably because of the incredible lack of sleep. But that's beside the point. We'll get to that. That actually gets into another factor, which is going to be very crucial for later. So remember that little explanation that I gave there, because everyone does it. So a causal action occurs. But despite this, just because the action occurred because of you, doesn't necessarily mean that you are morally responsible for the action, whether that action is good or bad. Honestly, dropping the book on the floor was rather neutral. Maybe bad because it's a little disrespectful to the book, but that's beside the point. The 2 conditions that are necessary. So, what we're looking at here is first causal versus moral responsibility. So, the 2 conditions that you want to look at here are willingly and knowingly, because both can be altered. So, causal responsibility is not moral responsibility. The examples for this are interesting. So, let's say, and this is a sad example, so dog lovers, avert thy ears. Let's say that one day you're leaving your house. Seems like a normal day. You get in your car, and you back it right out of the garage. Suddenly, you hear a thump. Little did you know, the neighbors, unfortunately, let their dog out for a little run, and as you were backing up, you did not have a car with a backup camera, and your car bumped into Fido. Now, Fido's not going to be dead, but he's got a broken leg. And as a result, now there's the question of responsibility. Causally, you absolutely did it. You were driving the car, you backed into Fido has the broken leg. That's simple. Where it gets tricky is the idea of moral responsibility. And determining moral responsibility is actually one of the great burdens of our legal system. And a lot of how we determine what is morally right and wrong is due to this idea. So it's quite important. So let's look at our 2 conditions of willingly and knowingly and see if we fulfill them. So, first of all, was it your will to back up and hit the dog? Or more, was anyone forcing you to back your car out of the driveway that day? Well, that one, not really. You chose to back your way out of that garage. That was your will. That was your choice. No one made you. Knowingly, that's where we might get a little alleviation. You had no idea there was a dog behind your car. You've backed out every single day for most days of your life, had no problems, but on this day, for a series of circumstantial reasons, there was a dog behind your car, and unfortunately, you hit it. Tragedy, these dogs are bleeding awesome. But, again, beside the point. If you're not used to tangents by now, you're not used to past 4 in the morning chat. Regardless, the greater the extent to which we are causally responsible, we did it willingly, and we did it knowingly, the greater our moral responsibility. So those are the 3 conditions for moral responsibility. Causal responsibility needs to be present. willingness needs to be present, and knowledge needs to be present. Cause responsible, willingly, and knowingly. Without those three, according to DeGeorge, you can't really be morally responsible. So, this gets into the idea of what allows you to get out of your responsibility. The excusing conditions, the mitigating factors for responsibility. Well, the first one approaches the causal responsibility, those that preclude the possibility of action. Again, good examples here are court. An alibi is an excellent example of this. Your Honor, I couldn't have stabbed him 38 times. I have witnesses that say I was on a trip in Bermuda at the time. And, had a jolly old time. It's not like I can control the knife from here. Can I? No, you can't. Probably. Psychic powers, question mark. Regardless, not really currently accepted in our court system. The point is that's a good alibi. It sort of removes the idea of causal responsibility, which is a powerful thing. The second thing is those that preclude or diminish the agent's knowledge. So, if you're walking into a shop and you are moving around to show people around and your elbow bumps a vase that you didn't know was behind you, it goes crashing to the floor, well, according to the store, you're paying for that vase. Because despite the fact that, because you were obviously causally responsible, and you moved your arm willingly, no one grabbed your arm and yanked it to the side, but you didn't really have knowledge that there was a vase there. Now, stores are a mixed example because on one hand, they're sort of like, hey, so you broke our property, we're not really going to go through this whole moral responsibility thing, you break it, you buy it, give us the money for the vase, or we're going to call security. But from a moral standpoint, let's say a slightly different example happened. Let's say you turned around and you knew for a fact there was no vase behind you because you just looked. You were like, okay, I'm going to turn around, I'll be perfectly fine. But little did you know that your prankster friend snuck up, grabbed a vase from a different shelf, and placed it right behind you. As you turn, you hit the vase, crashes to the floor. You're like, what the heck? There's no vase there. I know there was no vase there. Well, that would diminish your knowledge. You didn't know. And therefore you have less moral responsibility. Whether the store still sees it as that is a different question entirely, but we're looking at philosophy here, not the business ethics. The final thing is those that preclude or diminish freedom, control, or intentionality. You can know fully well that you're punching a man in the face. You can obviously punch him in the face. So you have causal responsibility. You have the responsibility of knowledge. But sometimes it's not quite that simple, because there's the question of, did you do it willingly? A great example of this is blackmail or a hostage situation. Both very dark things. And the reason for that is because they are things that, if happen to you, we see them as heinous enough that they can actually remove moral responsibility from you. Maybe not completely, but at least partially. If there's a man standing to your back with a gun or a knife, and he says, punch this man in the face, and you punch that man in the face, you didn't want to punch that man in the face. You didn't do it willingly. Excuse me. But toxins are getting into my system. But you still did it. So you have causal responsibility, and you had knowingly responsible, but you may not have been fully morally responsible because you did it against your will. Now this gets much more complicated, because in darker situations, such as someone holds a gun to your head and says, shoot your youngest son, the reason why that's so dark is because if you shoot your youngest son, there's the question of, should you have allowed yourself to be shot? That's what makes it so difficult. That's why we say it never removes it completely, but it does diminish your moral responsibility. So that's the idea. The three conditions of moral responsibility and things that can diminish them, or, so those that preclude possibility of action. I was in Bermuda. Those that preclude or diminish the agent's knowledge. I didn't know a man was being stabbed 2 blocks from here. How could I have called the police? and those that preclude or diminish freedom or control. I had a man standing with a knife behind my back saying, punch this man in the face, and I won't stab you in the spine. So you punch the man in the face. So those are mitigating factors, but especially in our legal system, they don't completely remove your responsibility. So there's a good chance the judge might let you off a more lenient sentence, and that's the idea of it diminishing it, but you're not going to get off scot-free, because that's just not how it works. So keep that in mind. Don't punch people in the face if you can avoid it, and I'll see you the next time as we spiral deeper and deeper into sleep, insanity, and the unknown. I'm Chad Griffiths, and thanks for watching.